Yes, guys, everything bite-sized here. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're back with another mental health video. This one is about what it's like to have ADHD, and we're just going to get it popping straight away. I can never focus on one thing for too long. Like, a lot of the time it's because I get bored really quickly, but sometimes I will actually want to pay attention to something for more than a couple minutes, and I end up realising I got distracted with something else a minute ago, and now I'm going to read the replies to this. That's the worst feeling too, when you realise that you've got distracted. I'll be reading a book and then suddenly realise that the fact that I was just thinking about how much rain it would take to fill the Grand Canyon has just made it so that I didn't actually absorb the last 3 paragraphs my eyes skimmed over. Yes, God, I'm glad this happens to other people too. I can relate to a lot of this, man, because you get racing thoughts with bipolar, and you get really fidgety, and it's interesting. A lot of the time they're misdiagnosed as each other. Anyway, carrying on. Agreed. Strangely enough, I've noticed that as long as there is enough ... movement, I guess ... that it's easier for me to focus on something. Okay, I can definitely relate to that, and I think most people can. If you've got something going on in the background and you're multitasking, I think for millennials and what are the Zoomers, I think they're called, the ones below us, we're used to having something in the background like music or television while we do other things like study or play games. So multitasking for me really helps me concentrate on one thing. Anyway, so let me read that again and then we'll move on. So agreed, strangely enough, I've noticed that as long as there is enough movement, I guess, that it's easier for me to focus on something. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's especially bad just trying to read a book because it's not doing anything new while I pay attention to it. If there's a lot of interactivity, like in an action game, I can actually play it for a bit. Yep. I have to either walk somewhere or just pace if I'm talking. I pace when I'm talking to someone on the phone, or pace if I'm talking to someone on the phone, or my mind wanders from the conversation. Yep, absolutely. I don't like. I can't have all. Surely I can't have schizophrenia, bipolar, and ADHD at the same time. Surely not, because I've got mega symptoms from all of them. I am kind of nuts, so I wouldn't be surprised. But like. And comorbidity is quite common. Like, if you've got one of the illnesses, you're more likely to have the others. There's no way I've got all these mental illnesses. It's just, I think bipolar kind of encompasses a lot of different symptoms from a lot of different illnesses. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm only diagnosed as bipolar, like technically. But anyway, let's get along. I feel like I get this way a lot, but there are things I can be plenty focused on, and they're usually things I just want to be focused on, like video games, a TV show, or a book I actually want to read. Talk about anything beyond that and I'm like you described. Is that along the lines of how you are? And there's no reply to that. Everyone thinks that it's like you're sitting in a lecture and you see a fly and lose concentration. For me, it's more like you're talking about magnetic fields or coils. Oh, coils, that's a kind of curly hair. I have curly hair. I wonder why I have curly hair. Oh, I remember reading somewhere that curly hair is the result of asymmetric follicles. Then you realise you got sidetracked, and then your professor has moved on to the next topic and you were lost. Yeah, man, racing thoughts. I get that. I get that a lot. And then you get distracted because you're thinking about how you just got distracted. Oh, this is scary how much I relate to this, but it's got to be just the bipolar. This is how I experience it as well. Endless rivers of thoughts chained together through association and a little imagination thrown in for flavour. I've got to say, I love how these guys are typing. You know, these guys and gals. I love how they're typing. Right. This couldn't be more spot on. Okay, I can spot a British person there. Also why I failed chemistry my freshman year. Okay, no, it's American because we don't have that old freshman thing. Wait, this is adult ADHD? This happens to me all the time. My friends and family are used to the idea that I get to random topics from seemingly unrelated ones. It definitely happens during lectures too. Yeah, honestly, man, I go off on tangents all the time. You know, like, and my mind races all the time. This is why I'm confused about what mental illnesses I actually have. Because I'm diagnosed bipolar, and I definitely do have bipolar, like very severely. I get all the symptoms, not just some of them. And I also get the symptoms of schizophrenia. But It could just be psychosis from my bipolar disorder, and I also get the symptoms of ADHD. But it could just be symptoms of my bipolar disorder. I also get the symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder, but it could be my bipolar disorder. So it's really weird. I think some of this mental health stuff is quite fluid. Anyway, imagine everything around you is given a score in order of importance. Finishing a project might be an 8, doing the dishes could be a 5, and checking the mail a 1. ADHD is like every single thing having a blaring 10. Interesting. Like everything's urgent, I'm guessing. Like that needs to be done, that needs to be done, and then it's overwhelming. Okay. It may be, but ADHD is a spectrum. Planning, time management and prioritising are my strengths. I never interrupt, and aside from my fidgeting, I'm not hyperactive at all unless overstimulated. Yes, this is me. Everything is equal priority. I can't figure out which things to do first. I'm really terrible at practical problem solving. How many ways can I do this to accomplish the same goal? Is there a more efficient way to do this, etc.? This is a big hindrance in the workforce, and I know people probably think I'm derpy and stupid because of it. I've learned to work around it by making sure I'm checking in with an external person, like my boss gives me a directive. Okay, so I'll do X and X and X, then X to accomplish Y. Again, I know this makes me look stupid, but I'm terrified of making mistakes, and I don't want to have to ask for directions in the middle of something. I'd rather map it all out ahead of time before I get started. This generally works for me because I don't work in a high-powered corporate office type job. If I can't go to my boss, which honestly I try to avoid, I could try to develop good relationships with co-workers to check with them, but without actually saying that I need their help in figuring out how to do the job, lol. Trusting relationships with co-workers can be a good advantage when you're trying to keep your explicit word together and function properly at work. I am unmedicated and have no idea if meds would even be able to help my cognition in this area, but it's a big limitation and hindrance, and is a big source of anxiety in the real world. I expend a lot of energy trying to make up for it. Next comment. Imagine 1,000 conversations about 1,000 things on 1,000 topics going on at once in your head while your teacher is trying to teach statistics. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna I think I might leave it at that. That seems to sum it up pretty well, and I can relate a lot to that. Actually, go on. I'd say in the next couple, a reply to that. I'll start again, and then I'll do the reply. Imagine 1,000 conversations about 1,000 things on 1,000 topics going on at once in your head while your teacher is trying to teach statistics. Someone says, this is so accurate. It makes it difficult to explain things like my emotions, opinions or ideas to others because I can't ever follow just one train of thought. And then, oh, okay, yeah, we'll read these next ones and then we'll call it a day. I'm 33, diagnosed 5 years ago, unmedicated, nothing feels in line or accomplishable. So if I have a list of tasks to do, simple tasks like wash dishes, mow the lawn, hang photos, vacuum, my brain will get hung up on what order to put the dishes in or which yard to mow first, vertical or horizontal lines. Instead of hanging photos, I'll organise them, then lose interest, etc. Also, nothing feels like it was done well enough. Medicated eventually mentally feels in order and I can complete tasks from mundane to the extraordinary. I now have the just do it attitude plus the confidence that I can do it correctly and well enough the first time. 23 here, I would describe it as a combination of the worst sides of intense focus and intense lack of focus. When you do focus on something like the pictures, you get bogged down by tiny details. Other times you completely miss over huge sections because you couldn't focus. It's interesting to hear another adult's thoughts. My husband is also diagnosed and your descriptions are so accurate, at least for what I see in him. I am constantly finding his list of tasks, but he gets too caught up in all of the fine details and each job becomes insurmountable. Oh, I love that word. He just commented to me the other day that he is going to stop making his list and pick one thing to do a day. Interesting. I would suggest to him to make a mental list. Personally, I found that if I'm doing common chores that wouldn't have to be done in a specific order, I'll pick one, knock it out, and move on to the next without really thinking about it. The net key is to not put unnecessary pressure on yourself as well. So today, for example, I woke up, drank a couple cups of coffee, put something on I enjoy in the background, like an audiobook or YouTube or something, and started on the kitchen. Then since the garage needed somewhat reorganising, I started to do that afterwards while keeping hydrated and eating a snack. Time wasn't an issue, so I felt no need to put pressure on myself. Before I knew it, the garage was finished and it looked good in turn, making me feel good. Good enough to work on something else. 6 hours go by, I finished my tasks, I've prepared mentally, and now there is no need to feel bummed because I was too hung up on not being able to do what I needed to do. Wish him luck for me, and remember he's not alone. No, he's not allowed to... What? Wish him luck for me, and remember he's not allowed to put unnecessary pressure on himself. And this is going to be the last comment. I feel for you. I am the ADHD adult and my husband has been a great support. I also have major anxiety related to getting tasks done, which happens a lot when you have kids and a life lull. So he's been really great at listening to me when I'm getting very anxious. Getting all my fears out and talking about all the things I have to do really helps. Does your husband have anxiety about this kind of stuff? Anyways, he listens to me express my fears, then he's usually really good at being like, okay, here's a game plan. You don't need to be wrapped up in the details about X, that's not important and can wait for another time. Tomorrow you should focus on only Y and Z. Those are 2 things you can get done in the time frame you have. I can help with A when I get home from work, and the other stuff we can wait until later in the week. It's okay if not everything gets done. Oh, that's good. That sounds like really good advice. I'm about to go out of town for an internship for 8 weeks. I haven't been on my own in over 5 years, let alone being away from him and my kids. I'm terrified. I don't know what I'll do with 8 weeks of completely unstructured time when I'm not working. I remember what I was like in college, lol. I didn't like it then and I don't want to be like that now. I'm honestly having major anxiety about it. Without external motivation, my life kind of falls apart. I'm not good at adulting. My husband has been coaching me daily about how to impose external motivation so I actually function. So far we've decided I have to have one goal for each day and I need to see people frequently and keep myself social and make appointments. Wish me luck. I do wish you luck. I do wish you luck, and I wish everyone else luck out there who's got ADHD, and I hope you learn to deal with it, and hopefully some of what someone has written here will help you. You've been locked into Everything Bite Size. Check out my music videos, check out my shorts, check out my other content like this, check out my true crime content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.